Hey guys, welcome to day 36 of 100 Ways to Motivate Yourself. So, full disclosure here, when I first started reading this one, I didn't like it. I didn't like it because it wasn't my lesson. But the more I read it, the more it helped me to kind of know that something that I do naturally, and I think a lot of us do it, especially women. Sorry guys. Well, a lot of women, not all women. Um, this was a really good one because it's something that I do a lot of because I'm naturally curious, naturally interested, and I studied business in college. So it was one of those things that fundamentally I learned about in school. And it's called Be a Good Detective. And at the root of this particular lesson is that, you need to step away from your ego for a minute and start to get interested in the other people with whom you're doing business or interacting. So I'm just going to dive in because it's full of awesome stuff for at least the right people. So day 36, be a good detective. So this is what the author asked us. Hi, LJ. What makes someone that you meet interesting? Is it them telling you about themselves? Probably not. I mean, you're probably interested in them, but that isn't what makes them interesting. When you meet someone new, what is it about them that makes them interesting? It's usually because they repeatedly ask you about you. They get curious about you. And the people like to talk about themselves because we are our own favorite best topic. Everybody loves to talk about themselves. In fact, there's even scientific research that tells us that the sound of our own name is our favorite sound, okay? So when you're in a sales situation, the person that you're talking to, or even if you're just in a friendly environment, hey Rhonda, people like the sound of their own name, like Rhonda. But also, more than that, people like it when you go into situations with them that the people that you're talking to are interested in you. They want to know about you. They're very interested in what you have to say, what your thoughts are, what your experience is, as opposed to just all about them. So I thought that was really insightful. It's something, like I said, that I do naturally, and I'm kind of the odd man out a lot of times because I'm so curious. He goes on to say that we should always be a good detective. Whether this is applying to you in your professional life, in your personal life, or even if you're meeting somebody new, like at a dinner party or something. Or also a great tip if you're just wanting to be a better friend or spouse. He said that you should always be curious, like a friendly detective. You should ask questions and then you should have follow-up questions and then let the answers drive further curiosity. He said it helps to raise you to a higher level of consciousness and interest. Most people do the opposite. We walk into a circumstance or a situation or an environment and we've already prepared our answers. Think about how true that is. Whether it's an excuse or whatever it is, you've prepared your answer. We rehearse what we're going to say in advance of being there. A customer or a friend, anybody that wants to have a relationship with somebody who a customer or a friend wants to have a relationship with somebody who understands and is interested in them. So he says that you should be very thoughtful with your questions. Don't be impulsive with your questions, and being prepared with your questions is the secret sauce for even more so than the presentation. So being prepared in anticipation of, what kind of questions you want to ask the person as you go into a sales pitch or what have you. And these days there's so much opportunity for you to do research in advance of a meeting. You're able to discern what somebody's personality or family life situation is like just by Googling them or Facebook. Here you go. He quoted a famous author by saying, "The will to win is not as important as the will to prepare to win." That's really insightful. This is also applicable as advanced work prior to an important discussion, maybe with a spouse or with a teenager. Prepare your curiosity rather than just your presentation. Now, this next little paragraph I thought was really good, especially if you are in sales. Great relationship builders ultimately learn that a sale most often goes to the most interested party, and the quantity and quality of your questions will measure your level of interest. You might be thinking that this doesn't apply to you because you're maybe not in sales or business, or that you don't sell anything for a living. But heed the words of Robert Louis Stevenson. Everybody lives by selling something. Think about it. If you're a mom, you're selling something. You're selling your child to listen to the rules. If you're a spouse, such as myself, being a wife, you're selling to your husband why you gotta have these new boots. I need these shoes because blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, we're all in sales. Doesn't matter if our title reflects that or not. He goes on to say that by asking questions in your relationships, you are already creating the relationship. I mean, think about it. In most cases, the question is the relationship. That's the foundation. That's the relationship right there. You don't have to wait for the other person to actually just make it happen. You can start getting curious and getting interested straight away. And then my last parting quote that I want to leave you guys with is, the quality of your relationships is always in direct correlation to the quality of your curiosity. Step out of yourself. Recognize that other people love to have you be interested in them. Start to get curious about them. Do advance work prior to going to a dinner party, or just looking around somebody's house, or walking into a meeting and noticing somebody's shoes and asking where they got them from. Start snowballing into a discussion. Leave your ego at the door. It doesn't have to always be about you. Try hard to remember somebody's name. Use their name as frequent as you can without, looking sketchy or whatever. But just invest in the other person, and recognize that, the more that you invest in them is actually an investment in your future relationship with them or sales with them. So anyhow, there you go. Day 36. Be a good detective. I'll see you guys on day 37. Bye.